We will definitely not shut up and dribble.
The champ is here. I must be the greatest. The champ is here.
I'm going to continue to stand with the people.
The champ is here.
I will not lose.
Come on, man. Let's look at the way.
Yes, welcome. You could be anywhere in the world, but you are here with we. My name is EJ, and I got my man.
MH.
He is the DB of the show, and we are Black in Sports, giving a voice to the culture that won't shut up and dribble. Here, bring you back inside the locker room where we talk about topics in and around the game. MH, you ready to do this?
Yes, sir.
All right, man. So recently, man, Dangeruss Russel Wilson was brought up in topic of conversation, man. You know, the season he's second season with Denver, and you know, it's looking like maybe a little bit more of the same, or maybe just not expectations meeting you know, what the media hype is with you know, first you had the hype of him just going there, right? Then you had the hype of their new coach, and they're starting off 1-3, and you know, it's just digging up. It's like, you know, picking at a scab, right? It's like, you know, when you're down, sometimes people kick you. So just seeing if you can get out that mud. But we wanted to kind of bring this to the locker room just because of a recent conversation with Marshawn Lynch and Club Shay Shay. And oh, by the way, Uncle Shay Shay, I know you started in that new network for Black Podcast. So, you know, you need to holler at us. You know, whatever we need to do, submit that application. But you know, we want to join the network, Unc. So you know, definitely holler at us. But no, man, MH, you know, they were on you know, Club Shay Shay and just kind of talking about it. But before we really dig into that, man, just kind of give me, I guess, you know, your thoughts of where they are and just kind of like the overall perception that maybe you have versus kind of maybe what the media may have.
Of Russell Wilson, just in general, or
just Russ in general. Yeah.
Yeah, I've always liked Russell Wilson for what he is. I think he's a better than average quarterback who has overcome a lot of odds and adversity to be where he's at, and been successful in a Super Bowl winning quarterback, and has done his thing. I think in the right situation and the right system with the right amount of teammates around him, he can be successful back in the day, and I think he can still be successful. I also think that, you know, he's grown his brand, which I salute, because everybody grows their brand outside of, I shouldn't say it's everybody's goal, but I think there's a lot of pro athletes' goal that is bigger than football. We have the platform right now, or it's bigger than ball. We have the platform right now to talk about things in and around the game. So what he's done with his personal brand and latching on with, you know, his wife and her brand, and what they've done as parents for his children that he's naturally birthed and children that he hasn't been a part of the birthing process. I have nothing but, you know, kudos to what Russell Wilson is.
Solid dude there.
Solid in my opinion. I would go about things a little differently, but like in some areas. But overall, I just think he's just a solid dude and a good player.
Gotcha. I mean, yeah, I think the move with Ciara was amazing. that was definitely a thumbs up for me, especially because the meme they showed with his girlfriend, man. Was it fiance or whatever? Yeah, they be killing her, man. His wife. Yeah, they be killing her every now and then. That meme like pops up, but solid move with Ciara, man. You know, it's interesting. So one of the things you said was that he could be a good player in the right system. So let's keep it on football before we kind of dig into, you know, the Marshawn Lynch and then the Club Shay Shay interview.
Yeah.
What's going wrong now, right? Like, is he not in a good system? Is he not having the things around him, you know, with a talented former first-round wide receiver, you know, decent offensive mind? Like, what's your thoughts with that?
Yeah, I just think it's a new situation, and quite honestly, he's thrust into an area where new surroundings, new teammates, new coaches, new philosophy, and that's been 2 years in a row, right? So, like, his previous regime with the Broncos is gone, and now he's under another system with the Broncos, which is different. So, and no coaches think alike. So he's adjusted, and he's been a player in this league for over, 8 to 10 years or however long he's been in the league. So he has his set ways about himself. So I think it's a lot of moving parts going on with that. And throw in the part where I don't think the Broncos are the most talented team. They're not walking around like the Philadelphia Eagles, where we can say like, yo, they're overly talented, are the 49ers. He's not in a situation like that. He's in a situation where, there's not players around him are not top 10 in their position. I'll put it that way.
Okay.
And he's in a really good division with other really good quarterbacks, with Patrick Mahomes, however you feel about him, and Justin Herbert, how you feel about them. Those are two of the most highest paid quarterbacks and highest performing quarterbacks in the league right now. So you play them 4 times a year, I think that can kind of get tough, right? So that's kind of where I think he is on the football field with his current system.
And especially if you're doing shootouts all the time, right? Like that's a lot of pressure on you to go into and feeling like you have to win that battle and carry that on your shoulders. Do you think it's a good relationship with him and the head coach right now? Because it did seem like, and of course this is us outside looking in, right? But like Peyton coming in, it was supposed to be like, okay, with him coming in, you heard the talking heads. I guess we're talking heads as well, but like Kyle Hurd and things like that, just really respect him. Hell, your team was going to go after Peyton, right? Like they were thinking the Cowboys wanted to pick him up just because, he's just a really good quarterback, and he's dealt with not your traditional quarterbacks, because what he had Drew Brees doing down with the Saints, you were kind of looking into like that was going to be that make or break for Russ. And do you think it is a make or break, like after the season, if they can't, turn it? Because we all know, man, like at this point, without preseason, just the football is a little bit sloppy the first kind of 4 games. And, you want to see people start kind of getting in their flow, turning into that October, getting into Thanksgiving is when you really know what your teams look like, barring injuries and things like that.
Yeah, I mean, we'll see where the relationship goes, and it may not work just because of economics. I mean, Russ is paid a lot of money right now, and there's a whole new ownership and new quarterback system, or new head coach. I'm sorry. So, and if they're not successful, they may be, have opportunities to kind of start all over in some ways. I don't know how that works contract wise, but they may be forced to do something different economically.
So well, they are in the Denver, Colorado area. So are they in the Shador, the Shador, Caleb Williams hunt? Like, I mean,
could be, and like I said, they're in a division with 2 other quarterbacks that are thought really highly of. I mean, I would say this on the same test with Russ's performance this year. I would dare somebody to look blind. Just look at the resumes of yards, touchdowns, interceptions, completion percentage, all that from this year, and then compare. Right now, his 4 games are 1-3 compared to Patrick Mahomes' 4 games, who I think are 3-1, and see how much different they are. I would, if you look at those numbers, just go ahead and look at it on your free time. Just look at the numbers right now. One can argue that Russell Wilson's numbers are even better than Patrick Mahomes right here. So it's not necessarily that he's doing anything bad. I just don't think he's on a very good team.
Yeah, because Patrick had a really shitty, what was the last game, 2 games ago or something like that, where, they talked about it. It's like, but they still got to win. And when you're winning, you don't really drill down to look at a quarterback or any kind of player, right? When you're winning, it's a win's a win, especially in this league, right? So, no, that's a great point. Like, just and I love when Colin Cowherd does. Well, we both
does
Colin
blind resumes.
The blind resumes, right? And you start looking at the numbers, right? Lil Wayne or whoever. A lot of people quote it and say men lie, women lie, but numbers don't lie. So,
right.
No, that's a really great point, man. I'm rooting for him. Like I don't have anything football-wise or personally, against them. Hell, I actually met them in Vegas. They were doing a Nike photo shoot, like when him and Ciara first started dating.
Yeah.
And it's funny because it's like, when people are at that level, and I think we've talked about it before, like when you've met people, it's like, oh, like, hey, how are you doing? I'm Russell Wilson. And he introduced me, and then Ciara came. I was like, oh, hi, my name is Ciara, whatever, government. When I was like, Yeah, I know who
Yeah.
you both are, right?
We know
It's like,
who
oh,
you
so
are.
nice to meet you. And then, just like had a conversation, like, oh, do you live here? And like, yeah, like this shit's crazy right now. So face value, you know what I mean? Meeting someone, like I have nothing bad to say about them,
Sure.
And like I said, I definitely think that was a great win. I love to see what he and they have done as a family unit, right? Because you talk about a blended family, you know, a good friend of mine always talks about, man, being a bonus dad or taking in someone else's kid, right, and raising them and showing them that love and providing for them, and that's a lot to say about a man, right?
A
Taking in someone
person.
else's kids. So
Right.
so from those kind of attributes of who he is, those are all good. But now I guess we'll start turning into what's kind of happened over the years and like where we are right now, and how, like I said, and it's funny, they kind of shot at him, but it's kind of hard to shoot at someone when it's hate when you're a Super Bowl champ. But then people's ears start opening when you're kind of like down and, or maybe you got a cut or a wound.
That part.
So Channing, what's our guy, from the Pivot podcast, Crowder, yes.
Mm-hmm.
Called him, what do you call him, corny or square or something like that. And like, so that was one whole kind of push, right?
Mm-hmm.
And call it what you want, right? Like back in the day, if you got good grades, you were a nerd, and they did jocks, nerds, all that stuff. So that, if that's what you think, that's what you think, right? So I think that's where it kind of began, or just some of the things that you would hear that people kind of poke. And maybe it's unfair, but then you kind of get into his days with the Seahawks started coming out, right? And so I think that's what the topic really was, with Marshawn Lynch and Club Shay Shay. Well, the clip that we kind of just reviewed, because I know they talked about a few other things, but Marshawn is a unique and interesting person. Someone call him maybe a national treasure.
Yeah.
I like what he's got going on and how he's been able to take his persona, as you talked about, brand, starting off our show. He's done a fantastic job with his brand, right? Everything from Subway commercials to, all his clothing and businesses and things that he's doing, of just being his authentic self, and doing what he's doing on, like, what's that, Thursday Night Football, where they do like,
or Amazon.
yeah, with Amazon, rolling through your hood, or checking out your hood. But he just kind of, his opinion, because he's usually always real, kind of stuck out to me. So he just really started getting into it. I'm not going to go through the whole interview. Go check that interview out, because hopefully we're soon on Club Shay Shay's network. I'm going to keep plugging that. But he started getting into it. What were your initial thoughts of what he said on that interview?
First of all, the combination of Marshawn Lynch and Shannon Sharp together, that in itself is a
pure comedy.
Yeah, pure comedy. And so, when you see things that pop up, you kind of want to listen to what he was saying.
Right.
And not that Russell Wilson is a topic that I think about every day. It's just interesting what he was saying. And he was essentially saying he didn't have Russ's number, and then went into a deeper story of, how Russ was in the locker room or how his betrayals are.
So before you skip over that, what do you feel about not having a teammate's number? And it's not even like that, right? It's like he requested it directly, and it was some BS around getting. Like, how did you feel about, like, kind of that situation?
No type of way, because in the little experience that I've had with professional athletes, they have a lot of numbers, right? So you know what I mean? Like,
yes, no, yeah.
He might not have a number to reach him, but he might have 4 other numbers that you can reach him at, and they change all the time for whatever different reasons. So that to me that didn't seem like it didn't seem like
a great point, man. Great freaking point.
It's hard. It's hard to reach those dudes.
Yes,
outside of seeing them face to face in a lot of
right.
So honestly, I didn't really think much of that, because it's, to your point, it's hard to keep our numbers. The part that I thought was weird was the block number situation. I don't know how phones work. I'm not that good on technology, and he said the number came back blocked and all those type of things. And he had to kind of schedule some time to meet with him. I think that's
a little weird.
I think that's a little different.
Right.
But I think Russell Wilson came into the NFL at a much different time, than what it is now. I don't know what the number is with black quarterbacks that we have in the league right now, but I think we're probably at close to half of the league right now, if not more, that are starting quarterbacks that are black.
Right.
And Russell Wilson came into a league that was much different. That I think the only other starter outside of him that was black was maybe Michael Vick. And this was Reclamation Project Michael Vick. This is not Michael Vick experience. This is Eagles Michael Vick, right?
That's not the reclamation. hit me with that $10 word on it. Yeah. This reclamation. Let's go.
This is a different Michael Vick. Even Michael Vick will say he's different. This ain't the same Michael Vick, right?
Right.
And so Russell Wilson came into a league where it's Tom Brady, it's Peyton Manning, it's whatever the case is, and he came in as a third round draft choice, and even the Seahawks had signed another quarterback and gave them big money, and he had to beat that person out in training camp. Matt Flynn, he just signed a huge contract, so that doesn't happen. So I don't think he came in with the idea, and this wasn't an injury. He just played better than the guy in preseason. So when drafted, he may have thought to himself, like, I can play quarterback in this league, but he was thrusted into being the guy right away. And as a black quarterback, as a quarterback that you would say as a game manager.
Struggle to say that, by the way. That's
no,
hilarious.
because no, I'm not struggling to say that. That's not what I'm struggling to say. I'm saying that there's different identities and I guess sections that he had to fit in right away, right?
Absolutely.
So if he played on a dominant defense and won with a dominant defense, I'm going around in circles. But people like that in the past has been like Brad Johnson. There's been Trent Dilfer's. Everybody's everybody's example of being a quarterback. Just don't mess it up. The defense will win, right? So Russ is doing a little bit of that. Then he's the black quarterback, right? You don't have a whole lot of chance to lose with being the black quarterback. You got to come out and do your thing, right? And then at the same time, he's looking at Tom Brady. He's a young quarterback too, so there's not a lot of staying power in being a Trent Dilfer. You're not going to stay in the league very long and just being a game manager. So now he's looking like I probably want to be closer to Peyton Manning and Tom Brady as a real staple in the league. Mind you, he's only 5'11" too, so it's not like he's like the prototypical size quarterback anyway. So I think there's a lot of different identities that he's trying to figure out and do, and he wins. And I think the way that he won, when you win, you find success, you stick to yourself, and that's the way he wanted to do it. And I would argue just because his brand is a little different than Marshawn's doesn't make it any. I mean, to me, they're doing the same thing, just on different spectrums, right? Like Marshawn is authentic to his brand, just like Russ was authentic to his brand. And, we all know what coworkers are, and maybe Russ just viewed it as coworkers. I'm going to work, and then I don't really have much to do with you outside of work.
Yo, that is man, let's stick on that just for a little bit, because that's real, and they're like, all my coworkers don't have my phone number.
Correct.
All my coworkers aren't, intimate.
Whether we in the same department or not. It doesn't matter. Mm-hmm.
Everybody doesn't, but to work with them, we go to work, cordial, no beef, no issues.
Yeah.
With your coworker. Yeah. Get the job done, support you in what you need to get done. I will do my job in a Bill Belichick way. I will do my job, and we keep it pushing, and it just doesn't go any further than that. And there's nothing wrong with that.
Correct. I mean, this is their
job.
This is their job. And there's business is kind of business. And so maybe he was just, as a term, standing on business. That's what he was doing. I just keep it business, and, I don't need any extra friends. I got friends, and then, when it's time to play, it's time to play. Now, that might it's wrong because we always think of the locker room. We call it the locker room. We think of football. We think of teams as camaraderie, as family, as those teams are the most successful.
Gelling. But kind of being able to whatever. So.
But maybe his gelling didn't feel that way. And what I kept pointing to, what you said, you made a super great point of it earlier, is like, these stories tend to get legs and have more ears when you're not winning. Because we had a whole Last Dance section on Michael Jordan of not being the greatest teammate, but he won. So like everybody's like, he sucked as a teammate, but he was winning.
But he's fucking awesome.
So if you win it, I guess it is what it is. And if you don't win, you don't win. I don't know I've never played professional football, so I don't know what the locker room is like, but I think it is very odd to not have a, relationship without your, with your teammates outside of, just the football practice. But I also do know that, we all both play college football. So I didn't know what the running backs did during practice or even what their meetings were like. I had no idea.
And taking it to another level, it was defense versus offense. Like, we didn't really fuck with y'all. Like,
at all. Not, like, legitimately. I saw y'all game day. Y'all was a passing department.
And we'd be like, when we're tired because y'all can't get a fucking drive more than 5 fucking plays, we're like, motherfucker, get a first down. Like, we're tired saving y'all. Like, just give us some time off the field. So 100% offense versus defense, man.
Right.
Like, different brands. And that's the thing. You hear a lot of the flack coming from the defensive side of the ball, right? Mm-hmm. You didn't hear many offensive players other than, oh boy, that supposedly he got traded, and that whole kind of what was his name? Receiver dude. I can't even think of his name. That he got traded off of the.
No.
You know who I'm talking about? I can't think, but he got over. He claims
the top 5 college football players of all time, Mr. Golden Tate.
Golden Tate, yes. Golden Tate said Russell got him removed from the team.
And I meant what I said too. That Golden Tate at Notre Dame was so cold.
He was still cold. He's still a top, like, he's a beast receiver.
So cold.
But for the most part, his relationship with the offense, you don't hear most of this. And then that position to where it's like, yeah, he gets the hype because he's the quarterback when you win a Super Bowl. But it's like, hold on, like, we were the defensive team. We're the Legion of Boom.
I'm glad you said that because the Legion of Boom, right or not, they thought of themselves as a steel curtain defense, doomsday defense, 85 Bears defense, old Rams, old fall Ravens defense, Buccaneers. Right. They thought of that self in that category, right? Right. And so, like I was saying, with all those teams, you don't really talk about the quarterback outside of maybe Terry Bradshaw. That's it. Out of all those, and maybe Roger Staubach. Out of all those, and that's a whole different era of football, right?
Right.
Those are really the only quarterbacks that are associated with the defense that you say, hey, we'll give you a thumbs up. Otherwise, it's just like, hey, you guys are just driving the bus. And, you know what I mean? And on one
don't wreck this motherfucker.
Yeah, don't wreck the bus. So on one end, Russell Wilson is like, no disrespect to Trent Dilfer, but that's not me. I'm trying to be Peyton Manning. On the other end, the defense
Russ is like, let me cook.
Yeah. The other end, defense is like, I'm Mel Blunt. We the 85 Bears. Like, we the Steel Curtain Steelers.
We the purple people eaters up in this bitch, right?
Yeah. Like, those are just like two way different things. Like, Peyton Manning ain't never played with Steel Curtain defense.
No.
Neither John Elway, and that's what Russell Wilson's brand thought. That's what he views himself. He doesn't view himself as Trent Dilfer. So I don't think those two things mix anyway. Whether Russ was corny or not corny, whatever you want to say, those two brands do not mix at all.
All right, so let's talk about the treatment. So this is one of the things that came up in this interview, right? And he brought up one thing, but we all know that quarterbacks get treated differently in the league.
They wear a whole different league. In any league, they wear a whole different jersey in practice.
Correct. The don't touch me jersey, right? Like, the quickest way to get cut on a 53-man roster is hit the quarterback trying to be aggressive.
And every other position is next man up. Quarterback is just like, come on, man.
Quit playing. Yeah. Right. So I guess there was an incident where it's like, Russ had a bad game or something happened, and Pete Carroll, coach at the time, well, still a coach, but we're talking back him being with Seattle and now Denver, but said, if you need to talk to Russ, come to me, and I'll relay it to him or whatever he needs his time or whatever the kind of situation was. Now that didn't faze me at all because I'm a Jimmy Johnson fan because he's from the U. He ultimately, I think he coached some team in the NFL for a while. I think it was the Dolphins he coached?
Yeah, he coached the Dolphins.
Dolphins.
And Americans too.
Whatever. So we need to take a new poll on. All right, we're not gonna get into this. So Jimmy Johnson was like, yeah, I treat players differently. Everybody gets treated differently.
Mhm.
You treat people in accordance to where they are. And he's like, I treat, so what was this quote? He's like, yeah, I treat everybody the same, differently. And just like, if you gotta, you gotta pause one and like, if this was a meme or on IG, they'd be like, read it again. But that's what it is. You were a third string kickoff punt returner, you know what I mean? And you do something, you don't have as much leeway. And that's just life as a starting quarterback or as a starting, leading rush defensive end, So that didn't throw me off as much. It's honestly is expected. And I just don't know if that's like one of those things where how it was handled or how it came across or it just rubbed people the wrong way. But like I still see that as being common.
And again, I'm not just defending Russ. I'm with you. I don't see it as a big deal because quarterbacks are different. Head coaches carry a record, and the other people that carry a record, general managers carry a record, quarterbacks carry a record. If you can tell me what Randy Moss's win-loss record was in his career, let me know, just off the top of the dome. But we can really tell what Peyton Manning's record was. We could tell
we on Dak's head always.
Yeah, we know who's winning Super Bowls, who's not, and that only really matters for quarterbacks. So they should be treated a little different. I always say this, and then I learned this kind of from my dad, and as I've got older and
shout out to Pops,
into my own professional career, it's different when your name's on the board or when your name's on the office or your name is represented, right? When I used to be an assistant coach, I would say, oh man, coach not doing it. If I was doing it this way, I would do it this way. And it's like, right. It's cool, but his name is in the paper as win-loss. My name is not. I'm just I'm the DB coach, I'm the defensive coordinator, whatever the case is. So if I need to do it some type of way to keep my mental right, so everybody can win and we can all eat, then I'm gonna do it that way because my name is on the board. And ultimately, if things don't work, it's I'm going to get cut first before the rest of the team gets cut. And so I kind of think that quarterbacks are like that in a lot of different ways, is that their name is basically on the board. It's the head coach, it's the quarterback, and it's really everybody else. Now we can say, is that fair or whatever the case is? Maybe not. But if Russ felt that he needed to have a filter between patrinacy and going through the first 15 script, if he needed a buffer there, then he needed a buffer there. I don't see the bad thing about that. Now, does he need his own parking spot? Does he need his own office, like it's rumored in what's going on in Denver or what happened in Seattle?
I heard Peyton Manning had his own office.
That's up for an office could be termed loosely. Hey man, I don't want to go home and drive home and waste time watching this, and maybe I'll leave.
I'll watch film in this little spot.
Yeah, maybe I'll live 30 minutes from the complex. When I go home, I want to go home to sleep. So while I'm here, I'm going to get my work done. Can you have a separate area for me to get my work done there? That's an office. Trust me. I know what a office is, quote unquote. Right? So
sure.
I don't know. I don't look at that any type of way.
All right, man. My last question for you, and then definitely open up if there's anything we missed. But I guess it's a 2-part question. One, when or do you think Russ gets set down if we continue to go down this wrong path with this record?
Being 1-3?
Yep. Do you sit Russ at any point? That's a tough one.
That is. I think there's probably a lot that goes into whether he's sitting or not, whether he's going to be back on the team. I mean, the team's already, I think they just made their, I guess, highest paid defensive end just got released. And so now he's to give young players more opportunities. However that,
works out.
Yeah. So you could probably see like the team is trending in some other directions. And, maybe it's Russ for his health. Maybe he wants to just chill out and see what his next move is. It's an interesting piece here because maybe Russ is just naturally aging as a quarterback that we kind of used to, the Troy Aikmans in the world, and I think Tom Brady has like whole mind warped about how long quarterbacks are supposed to last.
And then the whole theory, because he is a running quarterback, the way, whether you want to give him credit or not, but he scrambled a lot and took some hits, and he just doesn't have that whatever, right?
He's a normal size human. Yeah, he's a normal size human.
All right, so part 2. If he does get traded, released, cut, whatever, does he have any other life after Denver, or is it donezo for him?
It may be. I don't know. I hope not. I think Russ can still play if he was on.
Hey, if Geno Smith came back, man, anybody can do it, right? No, let me quit.
I mean, the Steelers might need somebody, man. Oh, my man's.
Hey, see, we were doing so good. A little banged up. Steelers need a lot, man. Matt Canada's got a damn burner account that he's tweeting himself about.
Is that real or is that rumor?
It's probably rumored, but it's real enough to me that, like, because I've been wanting them to fire him. So, all right, that's not what we're talking about right now. You about to send me down a whole other path, man. But yeah, so you think he may be done? It's tough, right? Especially with, like you said, with what's coming out, the time frame that they're giving quarterbacks, because Daniel Jones is not looking like he's secure in what's going on.
Man, they disrespect Vanilla Vic, man. Get that man.
Vanilla Vic, that's your boy.
Give my man some time to throw, man.
So, all right, man.
That's a great point, because
right?
Because the highlight or the headline is Daniel Jones is 1-5 or never won a Monday Night Football game. And it's like, how many teammates does Daniel Jones play with who also haven't won a Monday Night? You don't never say Saquon Barkley ain't never won a Monday Night Football game. Or is never on the field. Yeah, like nobody says that. Like, how's Daniel Jones? How's that all Daniel Jones' fault? So I don't know. I guess it's the life of a quarterback. They get all the credit. They get too much credit when you win, and not enough credit, or however that saying is.
That part.
Too much or too much.
All right. So we'll see, man. Like I said, man, and just kind of like the whole thing of our show, man. I'm rooting for everybody that's black. So,
hope he does all right, man.
I do too, man. Like, I hope he does all right, pulls it out, and just like people look at the numbers. If he still wants to play, hopefully somebody picks him up.
Shador.
And he just opened up the door for Shador to be the next Denver. Because isn't that what they said in the little video that got Prime all pissed off about, like, Shiloh was like, this is going to be us next year.
He's like, y'all not going nowhere.
He said, y'all ain't going no goddamn where. I'm going to sit your ass down. Talking about William. Hey, any final thoughts, man?
Nah, man, Russ, stay healthy, man. Marshawn, stay healthy. It was good. They won. They were great, man. They were. I think they were a decision on the goal line.
I think that fractured a lot of stuff.
Yeah, away from being this conversation being a lot different about the back-to-back Super Bowl champion,
2-time Super Bowl champ. Right.
I think the conversation would be much different. Everything happens for a reason. I think we would look at Russ differently. We would all that. They would just be a bunch of characters. It would probably be looked at more like the Florida documentary than what it is now. Because to me, it's similar, right? Tim Tebow wasn't kicking it with.
Correct, Tim.
He was just doing his thing. It doesn't work. Yeah, you don't work when you lose. So.
And at the end, man, he's got goodies at home. So, okay.
Out of pocket. Out of pocket.
All right.
You can't. Just all out of pocket.
That's a true fact. But all right, let me get out of here before I go wrong. Shout out to
we want to stay on the airways though.
We do want to stay on the airways. All right, man. Well, hey, let us know what you think. We did drop a lot of things that, is Russ. Hopefully Russ changes, around. Do you think he can save the season, turn it around? Do you think it's just a bad match, with Coach Payton telling him he don't need to kiss babies out there? Some relationships just don't work, man. So hopefully, Russ can find the next thing or just kind of change the dynamic here. It's a long season that we always say, right?
Yeah, based on our home team, man, he don't need to find it too quick. We need to win some games out here. So
there it is.
Struggle up.
There it is. All right, man. Well, hey, thank you for listening, man. I hope you enjoyed the show. This locker room, we definitely talked about some topics in and around the game. As you know, we drop a new episode every Thursday. So please, if you have not subscribed, please hit that subscribe button on YouTube or subscribe anywhere that you get podcasts, because we're almost everywhere. We're just working on getting on to Club Shay Shay. We'll be there soon. But yeah, please stay safe, practice gratitude, and know we're rooting for you.
Screaming, all us blacks got is sports and entertainment until we even.
Assuming I'm rooting for everybody that's black. Yeah. Yeah. Assuming I'm rooting for everybody that's black. Yo. Assuming I'm rooting for everybody that's black. Spent about 2 racks on handmade new rags. Assuming I'm rooting for everybody that's black. It's everybody from sports to college class to rap and back.